All right, welcome to this explainer. Today, we're diving straight into Beam Therapeutics and their Q1 2026 updates. We're going to break down both their groundbreaking clinical science and, just as importantly, their massive financial runway. Now, if you follow the biotech space, you already know that the leap from being a promising clinical stage research lab to a full-blown commercial entity, that is the most dangerous yet potentially rewarding phase of a company's entire life cycle. And Beam is right in the thick of this transition right now. The data they just dropped gives us a really fascinating look under the hood.
Okay, let's take a quick look at our roadmap. We'll start with the base editing breakthrough, then look at the Risto-cel sickle cell milestone and check out Beam 302 for liver disease. After that, we'll unpack their financial engine, and finally, map out the road to 2029.
So, kicking things off with Section 1, the base editing breakthrough. To really grasp what Beam is doing, you have to understand their proprietary tech. It's called base editing, and it promises way faster, much more precise treatments than older gene therapies. By altering just a single letter in the human genome at a very specific, targeted sequence, Beam is basically creating potential lifelong cures, and they're doing it without making double-stranded breaks in the DNA. That precision is absolutely crucial because it fundamentally reduces the safety and regulatory risks that have historically just bogged down genetic medicines. Think of your DNA like a massive billion-page instruction manual. Traditional gene therapy acts kind of like a pair of scissors, right? It rips out whole sections and just hopes the manual still reads correctly afterwards. But Beam's base editing, it acts like a pencil with a highly precise eraser. It just goes in, finds the one incorrect letter, the exact typo causing the disease, and simply rewrites it. It's elegant, it's highly predictable, and it fundamentally changes the safety profiles we expect to see in clinical trials.
Moving right along to Section 2, the Risto-cel sickle cell milestone. Now, what's incredibly exciting here is the peer-reviewed validation of Risto-cel. It's showing the potential to be a best-in-class, one-time treatment for sickle cell disease. Getting your Phase 1 and 2 Beacon trial data actually published in the New England Journal of Medicine, that is a massive stamp of approval from the scientific community. The data showed a deep resolution of sickle cell markers and, crucially, rapid engraftment. And why does rapid engraftment matter? Well, it means patients literally spend less time in the hospital post-transplant. It massively improves the patient experience and frees up critical hospital capacity. Because of these stellar results, Beam is actually expecting to submit a U.S. Biologics License Application, a BLA, as early as the end of 2026.
All right, shifting gears to Section 3, Beam 302 and fixing liver disease. So, alpha-1 antitrypsin deficiency, or AATD. It's basically like missing a genetic brake pad. Without it, your lungs and your liver suffer severe damage. But these trial results showed that just a single dose successfully restored physiological AAT regulation. That prompted Beam to confidently lock in 60 milligrams as their optimal dose moving forward. They saw these rapid, really durable increases of the healthy, functional AAT protein while simultaneously decreasing the toxic mutant version. Plus, it was well tolerated across single doses all the way up to 75 milligrams. Because of this incredibly clean safety profile, Beam intends to pursue an accelerated approval pathway with the FDA, preparing to initiate a pivotal cohort of about 50 patients in the second half of 2026. This is a huge leap forward.
I want to pause on this quote from Beam CEO John Evans. He calls this a defining period, and he's spot on. Making that leap from a research lab to a commercial entity takes way more than just great science. It takes serious corporate machinery and massive, massive capital to actually get these drugs manufactured, approved, and into the hands of the patients who need them.
Which brings us perfectly to Section 4, the financial engine.
$1.21 billion. That is their cash equivalents, and marketable securities as of March 2026. And this single number right here, this is what gives investors real confidence in Beam's ultimate survival. Look, in the biotech sector, running out of cash before you get FDA approval is the silent killer of great science. This war chest ensures Beam isn't just surviving, they are in a position of supreme strategic strength. They can push multiple late-stage trials forward simultaneously without constantly needing to go back to the well and raise dilutive capital.
And they aren't just sitting on that cash either. Look at how this is building. They boosted their Q1 collaboration revenue by a staggering 324% year over year, going from $7.5 million in Q1 2025 up to $31.7 million in Q1 2026, completely proves their operational momentum. This isn't just a company burning cash, it's a company actively leveraging its proprietary platform to generate real, substantial revenue while its main assets are still navigating the clinic.
If you look at the numbers, their financial discipline is honestly pretty impressive. Even as their research and development spending correctly increased to $104.5 million to support these really expensive late-stage trials, their total net loss actually narrowed. It went from $108 million down to $94.3 million. They are investing heavily right where it matters, in the science and the trials, while utilizing that rising collaboration revenue we just talked about to offset the costs and shrink their overall losses.
Now, this is probably one of the most brilliant strategic moves they made all quarter. To ensure they can launch Risto-cel without unnecessarily diluting current shareholders, they secured a $500 million credit facility from Sixth Street. They get $100 million right out of the gate and access to hundreds of millions more as they hit specific milestones. Launching a complex genetic medicine commercially is wildly expensive. By securing this long-term debt that doesn't even mature until 2033, Beam is essentially completely underwriting their sickle cell commercialization costs, all while protecting the equity value of their current shareholders. Honestly, it's a masterstroke in biotech financing.
Finally, let's map out Section 5, the road to 2029. Consider this your ultimate cheat sheet. It tracks their accelerated approval pathway for the liver treatments straight through to the end of their current cash runway in mid-2029. In the second half of this year, you're going to want to watch for the initiation of that pivotal 50-patient cohort for Beam 302. By late 2026, they'll be expanding their reach by filing an investigational new drug application for Beam 304 to treat PKU, which is a rare metabolic disorder, and reporting data for Beam 301 in glycogen storage disease. But the real crown jewel of 2026 will be that expected BLA submission for Risto-cel by year end. And thanks to that $1.2 billion cash pile and the 6-3 facility, they are fully funded to execute every single item on this list straight through into 2029.
So I'm going to leave you with this final thought. Given their precise typo-fixing tech and this massive financial backing, how much of the future treatment landscape is Beam going to end up controlling? Traditional gene therapies open the door, sure, but base editing might just own the house. They have the peer-reviewed science, they have the regulatory momentum, and crucially, they have over $1 billion to see it all through. The leap from the lab to the commercial market is happening right before our eyes. Thank you so much for joining me for this explainer. Definitely keep your eyes on these catalysts as 2026 unfolds.